And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, bonjour, mon mi, whatever you want to say. I'm back from Paris, and so are you. It's a long flight, but we're back to do the Weighing In podcast because we love it. So many fights going on. I got to see them all. I feel good about what I saw in most of it. Lot to talk about, my man. How was flying back from Paris?
It was good. You know, I did this couple a favor because they had a son, and I was sitting in the bulkhead. So I said, okay, they wanted to switch. I was like one seat in. I wasn't on the aisle like I normally am. And she wanted to switch seats with me so she could put the armrest up and her husband.
Yeah, right away.
Her and her husband could lay the baby across their laps. Well, when I switched seats and sat in the aisle, which is where I like to sit, she decided to put her babies on my lap, her baby's head on my lap. So I had the babies.
Babies? We're talking
no, just
plural?
one. No, just one.
Okay. All right.
She put her baby, his head on my lap pretty much the whole flight home. And I was like, ugh. And the baby was asleep. I was afraid I was going to fall asleep. And you know how you sometimes twitch when you sleep? Like, I was afraid I was going to elbow the fucking kid.
No, I don't know that. I'm asleep.
Oh, no. You've never been woken up by a little twitching? No, you've never done that?
Like a corpse.
Oh, wow.
Just dead.
No, man. No, like I'll jolt up real quick or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me ask you. All right. Let me ask you this. Do you dream?
Oh,
Do you remember
yes.
your dreams?
Yeah. You know, John.
See? Not at all. And I know it's like, well, you do dream. Okay, I know it, but remember? Never. Never. I mean, it is like every 15 years I might remember a dream.
Wow. Wow. You really need to get into some psychedelics then, buddy, because if you want a dream, let me show you.
That's why, no, I hate that shit.
Let me tell you.
Dude, I can't stand that.
Oh, man. You have some good ones, bud.
Woo!
Oh, man. It's going to all be legal here soon anyways.
Well, thank God, because Nate Diaz needs it right now.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. All right. Well, hey, we're going to talk about Bellator first because it was on Friday. UFC is on Saturday. And before we get started, though, go to onlyfans.com/weighing in. Subscribe to us over there. It is free. We're going to be doing a Q&A this week to knock some rust off of us and get some more fan engagement with you guys, man. That's really what we're looking to do. So onlyfans.com/weighing in. Head on over there. Subscribe to us there. It is free. We're only taking fan questions from that page. All right. So thanks for supporting us over there. I know there's a lot of people over there who's been hitting us up going, hey, man, we've been traveling so much. We haven't had as much fan engagement. So we're going to try to get some more.
And it continues on.
Try to get some more here in the next couple weeks. John and I will be traveling for the USO coming up and doing a lot more stuff with the military. So we'll get a lot of footage of that, hopefully, and we'll be posting that all about it. So that'll be over in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And Dave, go ahead and pull up the Bellator card. Let's go right into that Bellator card. Before we even get into the fights, though, make sure you guys subscribe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel also. Subscribe. Hit the little thumbs up. Give us a little help with that algorithm and the little bell, though, too, because we'll be dropping some extra content, hopefully, in the next couple weeks. Because of our little trip that we're doing to the USO. So it'll be good to get some more extra content.
We will.
All right, John, let's go. Bellator 296, Mousasi versus Edwards. Go for it, buddy.
From the Accor Arena in Paris, France, we had Fabian Edwards taking on the legend in Gegard Mousasi. But as all things happen, cars, buildings, people get old at a certain point.
They slow down.
They slow down. Things just don't happen the same, and that's happening. And you take a look at Gegard, and he's remarkable in how many fights that was his 60th professional fight. Jesus. God damn, that's a lot of fights. And you look and you go, look at the list of people that he has competed against. It's amazing. But there comes that point, and Fabian had that fight with Lyoto Machida where all of a sudden he made him look old. Mm-hmm. And Lyoto's getting older. He's the same as, he's older than Gegard. But I always, looking at this matchup, Josh, you and I talk all the time. And it was like, oh, dude, Gegard doesn't have the speed to match up with Fabian on the feet anymore. And you could see it so clearly. is I was watching the fight, and I'm watching a guy being able to control the range of the fight, and he's comfortable. He's not working hard at all. While Gegard he's working to try to get into that range that he can engage, and Fabian's just controlling it. Moves a little bit, comes in, boom, lands a shot, lands a counter, and is just picking him apart. And I thought going in, Gegard's got to work to get the fight to the ground. I think and I thought he had a big advantage on the ground. Didn't turn out to be that way. Fabian did a nice job when it hit. Well, he had it on the ground and wasn't able to do anything with it. So
he
that's
got
why
right to mount,
didn't
John.
turn out
he
to
had
be
it
that
on
way.
the ground and got right to mount. He just didn't. He didn't control the position.
Okay.
He tried to strike too much instead of controlling the position.
And that's my point. Yeah. So it never showed itself, did it?
No. Well, he only got the one takedown. He only tried really that one takedown.
Hello, and he told us. He told us. He goes, "No, I'm gonna take him on the feet." And I was like, I was like, what?
I thought he was lying.
So did I. I thought he was just being a smart ass and lying to me. Right?
He smirked a little bit when he said it, and I was like. Right.
But he wasn't. And it was not the proper game plan, in my opinion. But Fabian Edwards walks away with a very nice victory. He looked good. And he gets now a title shot against Johnny Eblin come September in Dublin, Ireland. And, congratulations to him. The Edwards brothers are doing well in the sport of MMA.
Very true. Back to Gegard real quick, and then I'm going to give high praise to Fabian here in a sec. But Gegard,
high praise.
Yeah, I mean, he deserves it.
Like that.
He fought a very smart fight.
Yep.
Controlled. He mixed it up. He wasn't just a striker. He didn't just fight on the outside. Every time he got in close, he was throwing the knees and trying to work the elbows. He did a great job, man. Fabian did a fantastic job. He threw in the wrestling also. The wrestling is really kind of, even though it wasn't the concern of controlling the top so much, controlling the ground so much, he still did a great job in getting the takedown, being on top, doing a little bit of work, making you think about it when you get back up to the feet. It's there. I can utilize it. I have it. My wrestling has gotten a lot better, and that's what he did. Gegard, though, I thought I said this in the post-fight interview or the post-fight talk with Amanda. I said, he is normally the fight IQ fighter. He's someone that makes adjustments between rounds. He's someone that can, he has a very high fight IQ. This fight didn't show any of that. Nope. It just there was no adjustments. It was like, okay, let's just keep doing what we're doing.
Well, and it was, you look and you go, you don't make adjustments when everything's going your way.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know how he felt that everything was going his way.
Nah, it couldn't have been. But here's the thing, though. Like, if I'm the corner and he gets the one takedown he gets, and he's able to work right to mount within seconds, I'm like, let's do that again.
Hello.
And let's just get your hips back a little bit more, control the position. Instead, he lost the position because he got his knees up under the armpits. He got a little bit too top heavy, and he ended up losing the position and scrambling and getting back to the feet. Let's just not do that. Keep your hips back. Do some work. Okay, control the top
Take
position.
time. Wait,
you have a very distinct advantage on the ground against him. I didn't understand why he didn't keep going to it. Now, I'm not saying you need to blow your wad, waste your energy trying to get takedowns, but like anytime you got to the fence, he's real good at dropping down because he's got pretty damn long arms, Gegard does, and just locking the hands and scooping out. I mean, I've seen him do it to several people countless times over the years, and it was something that could have been done. Don't work too hard for it, but try and catch it. Catching the kick and then trying to get the takedown off of that would have worked as well. There was times where he had the kick and he just dropped it, or he had it and he threw a strike off of it and dropped it. I don't know. They're just the adjustments weren't there between rounds. Coaches, corners all have to make those adjustments. Now I know at that age, things aren't happening as fast as they used to happen. But I'm not going to make any excuses, man. Fabian fought a good fight. He seemed laser focused. He even said during the week when I fought Machida, he's like, I didn't feel nervous. I felt good, man. I just felt calm and relaxed. And he's like, and I feel that way again this time. He's like, against Charlie Ward, I felt a little on edge. He's like, and my performance showed that. And so I think with Fabian, He understands how fast he is. He understands how much better he's getting. And like we've talked about, I don't know how many times we talked about it. We talked about it on air for Bellator. We talked about it on the podcast. When somebody wins a title in your gym, it makes everyone believe. And his brother and Fabian right now is believing that everything we're doing is actually working.
Works.
And so it makes it easier for you to go out there and go, look, I know what I'm doing. I know how to stuff these takedowns. I know I can do this. So I'm pretty interested to see in this fight with Johnny Eblen, because Johnny Eblen he's pretty fast himself. He doesn't load up. He doesn't have a ton of power, but he's got pop. And he punches from different angles and weird angles because he steps out. He cuts corners. He's out there having fun.
But he also transitions to his wrestling really well.
Exactly. So he doesn't force the wrestling. He doesn't need to force the wrestling. But
That's why he gets them easy.
He will not fight Fabian at the Gegard pace. And Fabian likes to try to slow things down and fight at that pace. Johnny will not do that. Johnny will be in your face from the moment that fucking bell goes. Like he's not. Yeah. He's made it very clear. After even talking with him this, he's like, there's not an 85-pounder in the world that can fight at the pace that I'm going to fight at. He's like, and I get that. I get a lot of that from Yaroslav Amosov. He's like, there's just no slowing down. If I take a second and breather, he'll take me down or he'll get on top. Or he's like, nah. No, we're not doing this. He's like, I fight at the pace that I'm going to fight at, and you need to keep up. If you can't keep up, I'm going to break your will. And we saw in moments in this fight, Gegard's 36, 37 years old. Fabian had to take a couple steps, 38, had to take a couple steps backwards. Had to take a couple steps backwards and slow the pace down. Where Johnny's not that guy, man. Johnny, you saw in the Tokov fight, you saw in the Gegard fight. I mean, both those. Tokov was 31-2, right?
31-2.
Yeah, 31-2 was his record. I mean, he's no slouch. And Johnny just in the first round,
he's got a gas tank.
Yeah, he does have a gas tank. We saw that. Even though Johnny started to run away with it as the fight went on after the first round, that first round was back and forth, scrambles, this and that. But then he made him exert so much energy that he didn't have much left in the second, third. Even though he was still pushing, still trying to get after Johnny, but Johnny just was a step ahead with the speed and with the pace and everything. So I think the way to beat guys like Fabian is to take away their athleticism and just stay glued to them. Never let them rest. Never let them get off. Never give them distance to use their speed and their length.
It's a thoroughbred, man. And Fabian Edwards is a thoroughbred. Mm-hmm. You got to run that thoroughbred. Make it to the point where the thoroughbred's exhausted, and it becomes just a regular horse, man. And Fabian Edwards is a stud. He's an athlete. He's fast. And technically, he's very good, especially his stand-up. He throws a lot of straight shots, good kicks at the right time. He gets the right, length as far as understanding when that teep kick should come out. He's good, and it's coaching. Coach Dave Lavelle there has done a fantastic job with those guys, and you can see it. And we're going to talk about one of them later. Tim Wild. Look at the change in that dude. Man, he's fighting so well right now. And like you said, there you go, little touch.
Cheers, baby, cheers.
But nice win by Fabian. He gets that championship match, and congratulations to him. It's well deserved. He's put in the performances to get it. So the lightweight World Grand Prix opening round, Mansour Barnaoui taking on Brent Primus. We thought this was going to be an interesting fight. It turned out to be a fantastic fight.
Wow.
Fantastic fight. Man, and I got to give it up for Brent Primus so much. And I said it, I think I said it on the broadcast. Look, I've seen every one of Brent Primus's fights, even from his damn, way back in he was at the Rose Garden there in Portland. But
I fought there.
Yeah.
I fought there in my early parts of my career. I fought there about 4 or 5 times, man.
One of the things I always complained about Brent was, you just don't fight enough.
Yeah.
Once a year is what it seemed like. And then he, went to Bellator, and it was like he's winning. And you look and you go, he's a good fighter. He's got a lot of, good elements. He's super strong. He's got a great ground game, and we talked to him before this fight, and he talked about, working out with Lucas Barbosa and all the things that he was doing there. And if you understand the grappling world, you know how good Barbosa is. He's a stud. We're talking Gordon Ryan level. They have competed against each other and stuff. And he goes, look, there's no way he's going to choke me there. I'm like, all right, well, it's different when you've got, punches, that alters things because it alters your brain. And but he talked about his conditioning. And he said, I'm doing, 30-second sprints with 30 seconds off. And how many are you doing? Up to, 15. And I'm like, really? Okay. And I'll tell you what, he wasn't lying because he was in shape. Because, of course, he got tired. That first round was unbelievable as far as the output from both guys. And if you grapple it all, it's just unworldly how much energy was spent. And, man, he was exhausted and came right back because you're going to get tired. But it is that ability to recover that shows what kind of shape you're in. And that was the best. I didn't care if he won or lost. That was the best performance I ever saw from Brent Primus.
The amount of shots he took in that first round with the elbows,
Ooh.
I was like, holy shit. But then he delivered his own shots, too. You can't, I mean, he's going to have look, the two of them, John, I was telling you, we were sitting, because I actually helped call that fight with you, Cage Side, which was kind of nice to get back together, get the band back together.
Hello.
But he just did such a great job of absorbing the shots, but then also trying to come back and deliver his own. And this fight was so frantic, such a pace. I mean, most fighters would have taken a step back going, okay, I got to conserve my energy, man. I can't let this guy keep doing this to me. Like, I gotta step back, circle, stay away, pot shot. A lot of fighters would have made those decisions. He just kept coming forward. Brent was like, no, I'm in shape. I can do this. I'm not going to let you break me. Because he was in some trouble in that first round. He got in some trouble throughout the fight, and so did Barnawi.
A couple times.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Brent knocked out Barnawi's mouthpiece a couple times. And so especially one time he hit him with a beautiful shot, and that thing went flying like this. And like it was.
And then he took another shot off of it with no mouthpiece, and you looked and you go, dude, damn, he's got a freaking chin.
And probably chipped.
Because when you're not biting down on that mouthpiece, it's a little bit different.
Yep. Probably chipped teeth also.
Yes, sir.
But this is what you want to see from guys that are in your tournament. And there was a little bit of a chip on Brent's shoulders because he should have been in the tournament, and he felt a little slighted by the Bellator brass that he wasn't invited to come into the tournament. And so he's gotten a win over Benson, and Benson was in it, and he had wins over other guys that, he felt like were being considered more so than him. And so he had that chip, and I honestly think that it's Barnawi who kind of took his spot, because Barnawi came in and fought Adam Piccolotti and got the win, and that got Barnawi in the tournament. And the history,
that's true.
I think Bellator looked at the history. Barnawi's only losses were to Islam Makhachev, Matisse Gamrot, and two other guys that were
Ivan Bochinger and Kevin Lee.
Okay, so Kevin Lee and then Bochinger, right? Is Bushinger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Bushinger.
So those four guys. But the Islam one apparently was very controversial because there was some stand-ups and some points taken that shouldn't have been, or whatever it was. And, and that fight, I haven't seen that fight though, John.
There's also those times when you hurt your opponent and they kind of complain about it, and then you give them time to recover.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense in fighting.
Got it.
It always makes sense.
Oh, I didn't see that. I haven't seen that fight, and if I did see it, because Islam's my boy, I wouldn't have said anything anyways. So
no, you wouldn't have, and it's okay.
I'm a homer. But then I didn't see the Gamrot one either. But you said that was a good fight also. But he's so he's fought the who's who in the sport at lightweight division. The only thing was he was away for 3 years. He had a great performance over Adam and a finishing performance in submissions. He got a submission on him in the second round. Yeah. This fight, as they're fighting the first round, what was going through my head was, is Barnawi going to be able to maintain this pace for 5 rounds? Yeah. Because if you've been gone for 3 years out of the sport, 3.5 years, and you come back and your first round seems a little easy, or your first fight seems a little easy, and then your second one you're fighting like this, okay, is the adrenaline dump is real. And you saw a little bit of them slow down towards the end of the second round or middle of the second round.
Oh, yeah.
They kind of slowed down. But then they picked it back up again, though, John, in the third and the fourth. And I was like, holy shit.
Which said what kind of condition both were in.
Both were in phenomenal shape. Phenomenal shape.
But I do think, and you got to give it up to Premise and how good he is on the ground. Because Barnawi is used to, and he actually got that half guard sweep one time. But he's so used to being able to dominate the position on the ground and get to the top position, and he was able to do it one time.
Yeah.
And Brett was able to maintain the top position each time that fight hit the ground. He was able to maintain that top position, and I think that was huge in him getting the win because it was that time on the ground. Sometimes he wasn't, able to do any kind of real damage or anything like that, but he was always working to get to a better position, always working to try to attack and stuff, and he showed what kind of ground technician he is.
Yeah. But I thought for 5 rounds, that was a great fight. Brent Primus now, he gets the draw of Usman Nurmagomedov to fight for the title next because the title moves along.
Be careful what you wish
in
for.
the Grand Prix. That title moves along in the Grand Prix. So he could end up being the champ going into the finals of whoever he fights if he beats Usman.
Well, and that's it. That's it. Both of them had a thing about wanting to get to a certain point. And obviously Primus wants the championship fight with Nurmagomedov, but it was Barnaoui who really had that, I want Nurmagomedov because of the whole thing with, the Nurmagomedov camp and him feeling like he'd been slighted in those fights. But, Primus has got his eyes set too. He saw Alexander Shabliy get that win against Tofik Mosayev, and he says, that guy beat me and I want that fight back.
Yeah.
And so he's looking at, that's his, yes, he gets the title and that's big to him, but he also wants a shot at getting back at Shabliy. So we'll see if that materializes and comes to fruition.
We will see. We will see. But I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Like, did they announce where that one might be? Because I know we already announced that Eblen and Edwards is in Dublin.
Yeah, no, they did.
They did not announce this one. Okay. I know that they're still.
Wish they would.
I know that AJ McKee and Pitbull will be announced here pretty soon, but that is not my job to do. So I'm going to let the promotion do that. See how when
hold it. Aren't you media?
No,
You're supposed to report these things.
No, media does not try to take the thunder away from the promotions.
There you go.
This media does.
No,
not
media
try
does.
This media doesn't try to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear Brock. I hear Brock Lesnar's coming back. I mean, sorry, it's different. Okay.
But yeah, I wouldn't do that to the UFC. I wouldn't do that to PFL either. I wouldn't do it to one. I'm not going to sit there and take away something that, look, they're the ones doing all the work to put that together. I'm not going to sit there and, because I know it's wrong.
Moving on.
All right. So we got Douglas Lima coming back against Costello Vanstinas. Lima was on a 4-fight losing streak. This was basically a do or die fight for him. Moving up from the 170-pound weight class, and if you're around the fighters and you see them, you and I talked too many times about Douglas Lima is close to death when he's weighing in. It's nasty, and I've seen other guys do it. Yoel Romero did it when he was at 185 in the UFC. Conor has done it when he was at 145. And you look at him, and people are like, "Oh, look how ripped he is." No, he's close to dying right now, and that's what we were seeing out of Douglas Lima, and we were seeing that exact result in his performance because he wasn't able to go, and he was always worried about being tired and stuff. And so going up to 185 was a great move in my opinion for him. Taking on Vanstinas, I thought that's a super tough fight, but when you're Douglas Lima and you fought all these guys and you have all these guys on your record and you make the money you're going to make, you got to fight the real deal. And he was, and I think he's happy with his performance, and I think he should be. He could have done more. I'm just going to say it right now, but Vanstinas should have done more. And I think both of them are going to go back and look, and Vanstinas is going to be super upset with himself that I should have done more. And Douglas Lima can look at the same thing. You took on a dude that's a stud, physically strong, got power, and you just kept amping it up and got the win. You look good. The low calf kick was working well. But you need more output still. We were talking about that from the beginning. The output has slowed down, and it needs to be kicked up a notch.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Douglas Lima a little bit of a pass on the output. He felt like he was winning. I thought he was winning. You thought he was winning.
Yeah,
he was doing just enough to stay ahead on the cards.
But it's just enough, so it only takes one shot to start to change this.
I get it, John. I get it. But what I also have been in that position where you've lost 2 or 3 in a row. And
you're worried, yeah.
And you're just like, look, let me get the win, and I'm gonna move on from here. Which I think we'll see a better Douglas Lima with a little more output in the next fight. Him also not being so used to, man, I'm slowing down. I'm fighting 5-round fights. He's not have to worry about fighting 5-round fights right now. He's fighting 3-round fights. And so these 3-round fights should be like a walk in the park. He can let it all go. Getting the win for him was the most important part. He's 35, 36 years old. That's important to him to get that win, to get his mental back. He's 35. For him to get his mental back. And I want to remind people, Costello Vancinas, he's coming off of a 3-year-long hiatus also from a knee injury. 2.5, almost, about 2.5. But he just got a win over another opponent in his last fight. But he was off for 2.5 years. Yeah, so 20...
Yeah, who did he fight? Go ahead.
He beat Fabian Edwards. He beat Fabian Edwards in 2020.
He beat Fabian Edwards. That's when he had the injury. Came back and he fought Kamil Onischuk, which is a beautiful submission. Got the win, but it was a long time off.
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah. 2 years, yeah, almost exactly 2 years to the point.
And this is where you can look and say, this is what happened. He beat Fabian. Look where Fabian's at, and now look where he's sitting.
Yep.
It's rough.
Being active and not having to deal with the injuries and that type of adversity, man, to get himself back on track. So he's got a submission win, come back now losing to Douglas Lima. But John, we ran into some people that were with Costello Vancinas, and we were I don't pull any punches when family members or friends or whatever, like, man, I felt like he had it, he did this, he did that. And I had to explain to them because I was making John proud because John was listening from like probably 2 or 3 feet away. And he's like, and I just kept telling the dad's like, or not, I don't know if it was the dad, but it seemed like an uncle or something. He goes, he was landing the jab. I said, yeah, but which one hurts more, the jab or the leg kick? And I'm like, and he goes, oh yeah. I said, that's the one that the ref's going to count, or not ref, but the judges are going to count.
Judges, yeah.
The leg kicks had more of an effect.
The better shot.
In
that sequence, which is the better.
Yeah. And I said the leg kicks were there. A couple times they made Costello lift his leg up, made him kind of switch stance for a second or two. All of those things. I go, and then plus the output. You've got to have more than just one. It's like it just wasn't enough, and which is crazy because I fell in love with watching Costello Vancinas fight because he fought like he said, like a child. Where he just fought wild and just went all out and just fought crazy. It didn't matter what it was, spinning kicks and jumping Superman punches, all of those things. He would do everything, and it was just so fun to watch. It reminded me a lot of like when I was younger and just didn't realize that cardio was a real thing, because it was just get it out as fast as it was, almost like the fastest windmill on the playground won the fight. Yep. And that's kind of how I used to fight when I was first coming up. And, that's how I got used to watching Costello fight. But this fight was very calculated, and it just wasn't enough output for him to win the fight. Like I said, he's going to look back at this fight and go, damn, had I did a little bit more, had I done this, had I done that, he probably would have won. So good fight for Lima, back on the win track. Costello back to the drawing board, but I think that he'll make the right adjustments. He's still young, Costello.
Oh, yeah,
so good stuff. Next fight.
Thibaut Gouti versus Kane Musa started off the actual main card, and Gouti came out. He was definitely feeling the crowd, being able to fight in Paris where, that's his home base, home country and stuff, going against a guy in Kane Musa who brings the fight, always is coming forward. Musa was doing what he needed to do to get the win. He just got hit with a right hand that was going to hurt just about anybody that, got hit by it. Was on the right spot at the right time. There was the opening. Big time knockout for Gouti, and he looked good.
I noticed the difference in the stand-up is that Kane had the power. He had a little bit more of the power advantage, but Gouti kept his stuff in tight. So if you notice that shot that landed, Gouti's elbow never really left outside the body until it was already coming up behind the wrist. Yeah. And when that made contact, it was the whole shoulder and the whole turn of the body that really landed that clean shot. It was beautifully timed. He was against the fence, almost like he was playing possum. Letting Kane throw his shots, left himself open, and boom, landed right on the button. Nicely done. He went out flat. Flat, and then he took one more shot for good measure. But I enjoy watching Kane Musa fight. I've been calling Kane Musa's fight since we did the Newcastle show, I think that far back, Well, we had the European series, 3 years ago,
Well, in his last fight against Georgie Karhanyan, he looked fantastic.
Yep. But he did, what he did?
The body coming up.
He didn't do the body this time, though. He wasn't really ripping the body in this fight. He should have, because that would have kept that elbow loyal to the ribs if he'd have went to the body a little bit more, which means that hook wouldn't have probably been able to land as quick. So when you go up top to the head, you go to the head on this side. If you rip the body on the other, then it keeps their elbow loyal to their ribs, keeps them from throwing it. A bunch of little tricks to the trade, but Goody fought a good fight. Like you said, he's someone that will take a shot, give a shot, but man, it was a good fight.
Yeah, very good.
Next
Denise
fight.
Kielholtz took on Paula Cristina. The real difference was if you're going to be in a stand-up battle with someone, you got to be either more technical or faster or have the power that can hurt them and that stops what they're able to do. And in this one, Paula Cristina was after her. She was trying. She just could not figure out the range and where Denise was at, and she just took a lot of shots. She landed a couple, but just wasn't able to touch her the way that she thought she'd be able to, and Denise Kielholtz just showed why she's the superior kickboxer.
Paula Cristina was someone who was tracking after her, but wasn't throwing.
Following.
Yeah. It was one of those fights where you're like, okay, look, you're getting her cut off, but then you're not throwing. And then when you didn't cut her off, you're chasing and you're not throwing. So no matter what you do, we had this conversation. Remember it was the Jose Aldo versus Marlon Moraes fight.
Yep.
And Aldo was running after him, but wasn't landing anything, wasn't throwing anything. Exactly. He was just doing all the hand movements. That used to kind of bother me when Anderson Silva would do that. He'd run after you and like move the hands and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle and dance, but then nothing would really come out. It'd be like one shot. But all of this, always skewed the judges because it was Anderson Silva. Well, Paula Cristina, she just doesn't throw. So if you're chasing after someone or you're putting pressure on them and you're showing your opponent too much respect by not throwing, though, that's hard to win fights that way. And Denise Kielholtz, for somebody who is dynamite in this little tiny small package, she's got a nasty mean streak about her.
Yeah, she does.
She is so sweet when you talk to her. You're like, how are you a fighter? And then you see her fight, and she just has that like almost like a very evil look in her eyes. You can tell, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I don't know, man. I mean, like for her husband, it's got to be like, no way, he keep getting his ass kicked.
That's why he has to be 6'8" just so he can handle her.
Man, he's a big boy. He is a big boy.
He's a good guy.
All right, next fight.
All right, we had Luca Poklet against Oliver Enkamp. There was some really good grappling going back and forth in this, but it ended up being slowed down to a point. But nice win by Luca. He was able to basically out wrestle Enkamp, and that was the difference in it.
Yeah, he was able to control the top position, not really, and take away the submission threats. And I think with Oliver Enkamp, right, he's old, not older. I think he's 30, 31, something like that. But he needs to work on building some strength. You can tell he still doesn't have like the full man strength yet. He needs to work on getting some plyos in or some explosive movement, start building a little bit of strength, because all the guys that seem to beat him are the ones that are able to just hold him down. Once I can shut your grappling down, then they're able to hold him down. Next fight.
Sal Rogers went against Davy Gaillon, and this was unfortunate. Sal, look, and this is why it's so unfortunate. Sal did a great job. He got to a beautiful position. He goes for the choke. It's on well. Davy is defending correctly. He's grabbed the leg. He's using his legs to pull his arm off of his neck. He's doing things right. The head kind of gets buried, and we have the referee, Jacob Montalvo, goes in. He kind of shakes him, but he stops the fight, and right away you see David Gaillon he's okay. He's not out, and it ends up being overturned to a no contest, which was the right call, because you can't give somebody a loss off of the official's mistake, and that's really what it was. And no disrespect to Jacob Montalvo, it can happen. It's a tense situation, because when you lose that ability to see his face, you don't want to be the guy that's allowing someone to be choked, and we've seen it too many times. Someone's getting in a choke and they're out, and you've got to, again, we talk about this, Stop looking for his face. Look at his entire body. His body is going to tell you if he goes out. And it's because he's going to be tense when he's there because he's being choked. He can't relax to that point. And all of a sudden you'll see his body just relax out. And he's telling you he just went out and it's time to stop the fight. But unfortunate for Sal because Sal's sitting there looking and you go, that could have been a win on his record. You know, I don't know about the pay if they gave him his win pay based upon it and anything like that. You know, but he's losing pay when he did what he was supposed to do. He put the guy in a bad position. He was in a good submission, and it was the official's mistake that ends up making that a no contest.
I think that some of it comes from the ref's perspective. Some of it comes from what happened in San Antonio to that dumb ref that let the guy get choked for fucking 2 or 3 minutes, and then the guy finally let it go because the guy wasn't tapping and went to an arm bar and broke his arm. I think refs are so afraid of shit like that happening to them and them just being crucified, whether it be social media or by commissions and never working again in the industry, that I'd rather err on the side of caution for a fighter's safety, and that's what they should be doing.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. They'll probably run this thing back on the next show. Maybe not Chicago. Obviously, Chicago's packed.
Yeah, no.
But I could see them probably running it back
somewhere down the road.
Yeah, somewhere maybe Sioux Falls. I think that's fight's coming up, and then or the one in Dublin maybe since they're out that way. Saw Rogers and Davey going, so maybe on that card. But yeah, it is unfortunate that the win money doesn't get paid to either one of them.
Let me make this clear to everyone because they're going to say all kinds of shit about Montalvo. Look, Jacob's a good referee. Jacob is a legitimate black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's got a school. He teaches all the time. He knows. It's so much easier on the outside, Josh, to sit there and go, stop it or don't stop it. But when it's your call that, you don't want to make the mistake. I don't want to make the mistake of stopping it too early. I don't want to make the mistake of having someone who's choked unconscious. And as soon as you lost that and then you didn't, notice that I need to just look at the body, it can happen. Yeah. And he's a good referee. And again, I talked to him and he was trying to explain, he goes, John, I said, hey, I understand, but don't put yourself in that position where you are putting the pressure on yourself. Look at everything. Yeah. Don't just start to focus in on the small things.
No, I agree. No, he's a great person too. Great to be around, super nice and very respectful, and just hey, this happens.
Very humble.
I would rather lean on the side of caution. I'm talking about fighters' health and safety, and I know it sucks in a shitty situation to be in, but I'm glad it was overturned. I'm glad it was done right there on the spot because had this thing gone to a fucking commission review, it never would get overturned. Sons of bitches. Anyways. Yeah, good though. Good stuff. All right, next fight.
We had Yves Landu against Piotr Nadelsky. It was a good fight, back and forth. Nadelsky thought he won it. Again, he's going to go back and look and go, I could have done a little bit more.
Yep.
And that was the difference in that fight. I want to Hamadov against Pesci. Good fight. Hamadov really looked good. And 15-0 now. This guy can wrestle. He's got good submissions. He's got good stand-up. He's from Azerbaijan, just like Musayev, and kid's good.
He's got to be a little bit more active on top of the ground and pound. I mean, he's got good pressure, good top pressure, but he just got to be a little bit more active on top. You can't be 15. What is he? 15-0.
Yep.
Yeah, he's like 15-0 or something. You just got to have a little bit more pressure. So.
Got it.
Yep, 15-0. 26 years old. Jeez, man, these guys are nuts. Oh, it's crazy. Next fight, Tim
Wilde against Chris Gonzalez. What a fight. What a great job by both guys. Like, I thought Chris looked really good too. He just wasn't able to put out the volume that Tim Wilde did. And Tim, if you're going to look at this fight, the true difference in it, I had one guy that could truly kick and throw kicks from different angles and different techniques and land those and have effect, and one that couldn't. And that was a big difference in it. The spinning attacks that Wilde hit him to the body with, some of those kicks, they took the air out at times. You saw, Gonzalez take a step back, recover from it, and then come forward. But, man, Tim Wilde, this all goes to that same thing you were talking about with Fabian Edwards. He's out of Renegade now. He had switched gyms probably about 3 or 4 fights ago. He's with, the Edwards brothers and Dave Lavelle as a coach, and you can see the difference in him as a fighter. He is so much better now. This is, his only loss in Bellator was when he was brought in the first time to fight against Primus, and you were there for that fight, and that he got go plotted by Primus. But other than that, man, he's had great performances in that. The draw with Alfie Davis, that was a fight where he had a point taken away from him. In that was the difference maker. That's why it was a draw, because he actually won the fight. But he's been on a tear. That's 4 wins, 1 draw since that Brent Primus fight. He's been looking fantastic.
Yeah. You said the difference was the kicks, and for me, I felt like the difference in the fight was that Chris Gonzalez did not use his fucking wrestling. That was the difference.
But he tried.
No. He did not try. John,
not enough.
No, it was.
Yes, he tried.
Not
enough for you.
The efforts that he tried for someone who is at that level of Greco-Roman wrestling, learning how to punch your way into the clinch is got to be the most key thing in your game. It seems like he had never done that, and I've got high expectations for Chris Gonzalez. He's still relatively young. He's explosive. He's got the look. He's very marketable. And he can fight. He's like you said, fantastic athlete. All of those things, but. This fight, to me, I saw him shooting double legs with no setup, raw dog, as we like to call it, from 5 feet away. Just learning how to punch your way into the clinch, learning how to utilize your feet and trips anytime you get into the clinch. I know he knows all these things. I mean, his very first takedown was fucking up in the air and then down. I was like, wow, this is beautiful. He's going to get it done. And then he went back to the kicks were the factor. I agree. The kicks were a huge factor because that keeps you away.
Kept him from coming in. Yep.
Yep. But Chris, he's got to have different ways of getting in and closing that distance with your level of wrestling. This fight should have never stayed on the feet as long as it did. And he's just so good and so talented. But Tim Wilde, like you said, since changing gyms, has he's been fighting fantastic. He's made those adjustments. He's made those changes. He's using his lateral movement. He's striking off the lateral movement. He's mixing up the punches and the kicks, spinning attacks. Keeps fighters guessing. If you're a wrestler and I'm fighting somebody like him, I'm like, shit, he's going to throw a spinning back kick to the body, which he did several times. He's going to throw it to the head, which he did several times. And when you see spinning attacks coming, you're like, oh shit, do I shoot? Do I not shoot? He was working the straight jab. And then every time Chris came in, he worked the knee up the middle. But those are things that Chris is going to have to make some adjustment to, because Tim Wilde is in the middle of the pack right now in that division, maybe a little bit ahead of the middle of the pack. But when you get to that next level, it's going to get even worse. Those guys are going to mix it up everywhere. You're going to have guys, you're just going to have all these guys that are just so damn good that they can do it anywhere. You got Mansour Banawi, fucking fantastic grappler, but big elbows, big knees, all those things. And you got Brent Primus, monster on top, big, strong guy. I don't even want to get into like Shabli, great takedown defense, good boxing, spinning kicks, big power, all those things. Chris is going to have to make those adjustments now while he still can, and getting himself a little bit more acclimated to punching in on the clinch, clinching the body, lift, body locks, lift, scoop, whatever it is. He's going to have to make those adjustments because right now I'm not seeing it. So he's going to have to make some improvements. Yep. Overall, any other fights on this card you want to talk about? That knockout, though, by Roman was pretty damn good against Kamara.
That knockout was big right hand, beautifully placed. You got to give it. I thought that Asel Ajouj against George Sasu, both guys fought their asses
Good
off.
fight.
That was a great fight. So congratulations on that. And then again, also Fabakary Giada against Kerr Harvey. Kerr Harvey, tough as hell.
Yeah.
Man, that dude took some shot. His face was looking like a truck hit it in the first round.
Kick and scrap.
And he kept coming back, kept fighting. That, Dave, is what we call a tough Scotsman.
He must be related to William Wallace.
Yeah.
Because Dave's on the other side.
Podcast Dave.
Well,
all right, let's go to the UFC and Biggie Boy versus Mr. Almeida. That was a good fight.
Go to onlyfans.com/weighing in. Onlyfans.com/weighing in. Make sure you guys subscribe to us. It is free over there. And we got some stuff coming up. We're also doing some stuff over in the USO in the next week or so. and we'll be posting some more content over there. Us working with the troops, us, John, doing rappelling, maybe even some skydiving. I'm trying to negotiate the skydiving, so.
Yeah, baby.
Yep. So we're going to be doing all sorts of different stuff. Obviously, shooting some weapons.
Extra big parachutes.
Doing some good extra big parachutes. Doing some great stuff over there, but that'll be all available on our onlyfans.com/weighing in. Subscribe to us over there. It is free. Also, hit that thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the descriptions down below in the YouTube channel. That'll take you to our Clips channel. Subscribe over there as well. If you don't want to watch the whole show, Dave has a whole channel for small clips. You understand the Clips channel? And then you can watch segments of it. Subscribe over there with the little bell and the thumbs up on that platform as well. We want to thank you guys for continuing to support us. And it is 5 a.m. in the morning here, John. And I just got off the flight yesterday from Paris, and we are here doing this show for all of you. I know we're a day late, but
do you know why?
We're never a dollar short. Yes.
Dedication, baby. Dedication. That's right.
Yes. All right, let's go ahead and get into the UFC. What is this? UFC? Was this on ABC?
It was on ABC.
Oh, wow.
UFC
Charlotte.
ABC 4. Yeah,
ABC
from Charlotte.
4. Interesting.
Yeah, there's some things we can talk about with Charlotte, too. All right, we had Jailton Almeida versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. This went exactly like we said. And this is, I like that Biggie Boy came out. He was aggressive. But, man, when you get taken down with the takedown, his both legs, how do you get your feet that close together? I mean, you're facing a guy that's going to want to take you down. He ends up getting taken down. Almeida just systematically takes his time, puts pressure on him, gets him to the point where he gets the mount, gets him turned over, and he sinks in the rear naked choke. And great job. That's exactly what Almeida's supposed to do. He looks great. He's performing well. Biggie Boy is, he's in that position, man. You're going to have to figure out some defensive wrestling. Needed in the training room. That's that should be your number one priority, because that's how people beat you.
I'm going to continue to say this for I think the longest time until there's some changes made. Is the heavyweight division has always lacked wrestling and jiu-jitsu. You've had a couple guys, don't get me wrong, over the years. You had Frank Mir, who had good jiu-jitsu, not great wrestling. Verdum, great jiu-jitsu, not great wrestling, but his stand-up got so good that some people wanted to take him down. You know what I mean? Like, he had a good push kick. You utilized the jab. He would fight crazy.
He'd come running at you and fly across the ring.
Exactly. He'd fight wild because he knew that if you end up on the ground with him, he'd work you over.
He had an advantage.
There were certain guys, So Almeida is like kind of a shot in the arm, I think, for this division. Good for him. I think he's got a ton of talent to be that big and that good on the ground. And like you said, slowly, systematically work his way to the back and get the choke. Fantastic job. I mean, I'm not ready to catapult him up into the number 2 or 3 spot, but no. I mean, you could tell that he's not as comfortable on the feet standing, and I wouldn't be either with the Biggie Boy in front of me. But yeah, I think he's got definitely high expectations for him in this division. Big time.
Yeah, I mean, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. And the one thing when we talk about systematically took his time, that's important, because a lot of times guys rush because they want to get to that end point. He doesn't do that. I have never seen him do that in any of his fights. Very, very smart in his approach to what he wants to do and how he gets the win. And I mean,
IE would be Gegard. Gegard made a mistake against Fabian. You could say potentially cost him the fight.
Yeah,
could absolutely. Say. If you're that high up on the mount and you get there and you're within seconds, you're in mount and you're raining down punches. You rushed it along a little bit too much. You got to do the work sometimes on the top. Slow them down. Make them feel comfortable.
Slow it down until you've got that position.
Almost rocking them to sleep down there. Okay, you want to kind of cradle them a little bit, let them know.
Just not quite as nice and secure and sensitive as that is.
Just let them know, I got you down here, buddy. I got you. Just hang out. Okay, I got you. Don't worry. I'll get you out of here in no time. Yeah.
Very nice win
great job
for Almeida.
Great job. Next fight.
Johnny Walker took on Anthony Smith, and podcast Dave was telling me, did you watch the press thing with Dana talking about Johnny Walker and that he's just not as exciting anymore or something like that. No, he's getting wins. And this is what, when I talk to him, I don't give a shit. You're getting knocked out being exciting. That's not a good way to have a career. And Johnny Walker is doing the exact thing that he should be doing. His coaches are exactly right in the approach of their game planning and everything they're doing. And let's be honest, he, for the most part, he did exactly what he should against Anthony. And I'm going to say this about Anthony. I've always loved Anthony Smith, and he is a tough dude who's got just a ton of experience out there. But he's slowing down.
Yeah.
And you can see it. He's physically slowing down, and he can't push in the areas that he used to be able to push. The speed's not quite the same. He can't land the same things. And when he's fighting someone, normally he's the bigger, longer guy, standing about 6'4" for Anthony, and he has length and stuff. And you can see that the size of Johnny Walker is something that, is odd for him to deal with. But, Anthony in this, there was a couple moments you looked at when he got a takedown, but Johnny Walker did exactly what he should have done in this fight. He systematically broke him down, and as that third round was coming to an end, he had Anthony Smith in trouble. So if it was a 5-round fight, I don't think Anthony was going to make it into that area. So I thought Johnny Walker did a great job in getting that win.
Yeah, those leg kicks were having a huge factor. I mean, the way that Anthony was having to switch his stance, wasn't able to put a lot of weight on it, and even when he was catching kicks, he wasn't able to control the kick because his leg.
He tried a couple of times.
His leg was bothering him a little bit. So, but Anthony still had some pop on his punch. There was a couple times in that second and third round he was able to land some clean shots on Johnny. He just didn't have enough left in the legs for him to press it, to get after him. And so that being the case, it just didn't happen. Like, he wasn't able to get it done. Johnny is fighting a lot smarter, which I said a while back. I said he fights so stupid that I don't think his career is going to last long. And then literally like a fight later, and I'm not saying he was listening to me, you guys. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm saying he made some changes and some adjustments, started fighting the smarter fights, and he hasn't lost since. Good on him. Certain fighters make those changes. Andrei Arlovsky, realizing that he's not the same fighter anymore. You got to make those adjustments. You want to keep fighting, you want to keep making money, then that's what you got to do. It's easier, obviously, to do it at the heavier weights because everyone's slow, okay, and they can't wrestle. So in the lighter weights, it's obviously not as easy because everyone can do everything. They're a lot better.
Look at you. You just got to throw in your little jab.
I do.
Yeah, just got to.
Well, I'm sorry, man. Last I checked, facts matter, so we're here.
Oh, is that what it is? It's facts. Got it.
John, list to me how many guys are good wrestlers in the heavyweight division. Go ahead, I'll wait.
In all the heavyweight divisions? Stop. Excuse me. Are you saying UFC, or is that what you're limiting to? Because they have a champion. Stop right there.
Bellator,
you wanted to know. Now I'm talking.
I'm giving you UFC, Bellator.
Because I'm going UFC right now.
Okay, UFC.
The UFC's got a guy that's a champion in John Jones. Can he wrestle?
Yeah, he can wrestle. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What about a guy named Curtis Blades? Can he wrestle?
Okay.
Stop. Can he wrestle?
Who's it? Curtis Blades?
Curtis Blades. You need to listen. Can Curtis Blades wrestle?
Did he use it? No. That's not one.
Just one. Stop. Shut up.
Doesn't use it.
Answer my question.
Doesn't count.
Can he wrestle?
I don't know. I haven't seen him
wrestle.
You want me
to continue on?
Fights.
See, so you're wrong again.
So there's two.
You're wrong
there's two.
again. I didn't go with two. Now you're going, it's just two.
I
didn't go down the list.
Keep going. That's it. John doesn't have any more. He's done.
No. Can Tom Aspinall wrestle?
No.
Yes, he can.
No, he can't.
Yes,
John, that's not wrestling.
You're lying now.
No, he's
You're
not. He
lying.
Can't wrestle.
He's got
good jiu-jitsu. He can't wrestle.
Okay, what about Brock Lesnar? I had to throw that one in there.
John, Tom Aspinall's from the UK.
Okay. Hold on.
They don't even have wrestling in the UK. They don't even have wrestling in the UK.
Can Carl Williams wrestle?
Who's that?
Yes, Carl Williams can wrestle.
Who's that?
Who's that? Jesus.
Isn't he a 205-pounder?
A 205-pounder. Jesus, you're so bad.
Oh, he is a heavyweight. That's right, Chase Sherman.
Oh, he is a heavyweight.
Did he wrestle? Did he wrestle?
When he did, man, he freaking took him off his feet, but he didn't wrestle enough.
Yeah. Hey, maybe he can. But let's
there are those guys
be
out
real.
there.
Where are those guys?
All right, let's be real. Let's
what
talk
about in the Bellator and heavyweight division? How many are there? You got Bader. You got.
Oh, you're going to give it to. You're saying Bader can wrestle?
Bader can wrestle.
Are you sure?
Well, he can wrestle.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
I mean, knowing you,
Wow. Who's in that heavyweight division there? Heavyweight.
You don't even know who's in the heavyweight division.
Bader.
Can Lynn Vassell wrestle?
He's from the UK. No.
Yes, he can.
No, he can't.
Absolutely,
He's from the UK.
Yes, he can.
Moldavsky
Can
can wrestle.
Moldavsky wrestle? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Can Tyrell Fortune wrestle?
I haven't seen him
Can
wrestle
Tim
in a
Johnson
while.
wrestle?
Yeah, those two guys can
Can
wrestle.
Davion Franklin wrestle?
No.
Oh, you're lying
Oleg
now.
Popov.
Can Popov? Yes, he's a wrestler.
Yeah, he can wrestle. Okay. There's a handful. Okay. We're talking two promotions. I got like maybe 5 out of it.
Oh, you're lying again.
Gosh,
Come
John.
on.
Look, bottom line is the latter guys are
Bottom
just
ling is
better.
you're wrong once again.
No.
Wrong once again.
John, just because you talk louder doesn't make you more right.
WORONG.
All right, let's go. Next fight. Great fight. Next fight.
Whoa, wrong.
Let's talk about some real talent here. Okay, let's go. Ian Gary versus Dale Rodriguez. Let's go, buddy.
Well, this is a weight that you never fought at, so it's very important. You're right there.
Yes.
Ian Gary against Daniel Rodriguez. Look at Ian Gary came out, looked good.
Yeah.
Controlled the range and the distance very well, and then landed the kick, finished it up, went after him. Obviously Daniel was hurt because he never responded well after it. Just turned and covered and stuff. So it was a good stoppage. But Ian Gary, really, dude, he's been fighting a lot, and he's been freaking producing. He's taken some shots. He's shown that he can recover from being hurt. He's really looking good.
Yeah, I hear the buzz over at Kill Cliff. It's that he's really always trying to learn. He's always getting better. He's doing a great job, and his body style gives a lot of people some problems. It's just
he
has
uses
his
length very well.
Yes, and
you don't see it. You don't see him. He doesn't hunch down. He fights his style of fight. He stays tall. He stays long. He's got confidence. We talk about that all the time. This kid's got confidence.
I don't want to take anything away from him yet because I know he's doing everything he needs to do to get these wins. He looks fantastic, but I'm seeing the UFC skew a little bit towards, and I think it's okay. I think it is. That they know they have someone who's marketable. He's got a good look, speaks well. He's got the backing of guys like Conor and other guys that kind of help hype him up a little bit after he gets wins. Those type of things go a long way. But when you get into the welterweight division, can you pull up the welterweight division for me there, buddy? When he gets up a little bit higher and he's having to fight guys that can really wrestle, I want to see how well he can do.
There's going to be a difference.
There's going to be a little bit of a difference. The grappling, I think he's got decent grappling. It's pretty good. It's not great, though. It's not phenomenal. So when I start saying, like, hey, who are we going to put him up against here in this welterweight division?
I know exactly who I want to see him.
You want to see Neil Magny?
No.
Oh, okay. Vicente Luque?
That's not bad. It's not bad. No, I want to see him fight Jack Della Maddalena.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's a great fight.
Yeah, it's a great fight. It's a tough fight.
You're right. That's what I like about it.
I'd rather see him jump 2 spots and fight Neil Magny instead.
See, but Neil Magny, in my opinion, that's a fight that goes against where his strength is. His strength is in the stand-up. What do you think Jack Della Maddalena is going to do?
I don't know.
He's going to strike with him.
Yeah. You don't think Neil's going to strike with him?
A little bit, but Neil's going to get into the clinch and he's going to work to take him down.
So why not go one more spot ahead then have him fight Vicente Luque?
Vicente Luque? That's a good fight.
You have Jeff Neal. I mean, like, this is where I'm getting into this position here. Like Sean Brady, Jeff Neal, Stephen Thompson. Those were pretty much those guys. I think he's kind of in that level right there. Then you get to like Shavkat Burns and Chimaev.
Brady would not. Brady's not going to.
He won't stand with him. He will stand with him, but not too much. Yeah, Sean's going to try to get him down. Yeah. Vicente will. I think Jeff. I think will stand. Jeff's got to be careful with Jeff's power though.
Yep.
So, but I like the Neil Magny fight because Neil is someone who will fight everyone. He'll fight anywhere. That'll also be a little bit more of a test for him on the ground stuff. Can he stuff the takedowns? Can he still throw strikes and get off against someone like Neil? Neil's had plenty of experience against top level guys.
He's going to be up in that top 15 now. So
yeah, he'll be there.
Where he goes.
You have Michel Pereira though too. He's there. That's a Pereira or whatever his name. Yeah, that's a wild fight. Yeah, that's a wild fight. All right, next.
That'd be a good one. All right, we had Carlos Ulberg against Ihor Potera. Man, Ulberg landed that shot, put him down. Beautifully done. You could hardly see it, from the angle that they created, but it was well placed. He was, you could see that Ihor was trying to get into a grappling scenario. Couldn't do it. Ulberg did a great job of controlling that distance and range, and when given the opportunity, landed a beautiful shot, finished the fight. That's what he's supposed to do. He's looking better, more confident in what he's doing. He's getting more that experience factor of, being out there a couple of times is really starting to change the way he's fighting.
If I'm the UFC, I'm salivating a little bit because you just had two guys that are good looking, speak well, and fucking fight hard. You got Ian Gary, you got Ulberg. Both are very marketable. If I'm the UFC, I'm going, you guys keep knocking people out like this, and you guys keep doing what you're doing. This guy's
hello. We're going to be friends.
Yep, we're going to be friends. I'm going to try to make you guys a lot of money, and you just keep doing what you're doing. Nicely done, man. Both of these guys, and like I said, good fight by him. I see some potential in Ulberg. Quite a bit of potential. He's going to have to make sure he works a lot on his takedown defense. Don't get carried away. They won't all be just stand-up guys. So that's where.
True.
That's where when guys like Conor McGregor back in the day, he made the adjustments and learning how to stuff takedowns, making you pay every time you didn't get a takedown. These two guys, you're going to have to be prepared because the one day they're going to throw somebody at you and say, hey, this guy has some wrestling. You have to be working on your wrestling right now, not when the fight comes, not when they announce it. You've got to be getting better at the wrestling now. So hopefully they're both working on that.
True.
Next fight.
Alex Morano against Tim Means. This is what, very, very, exactly like I actually thought. I thought Tim Means in the stand-up would be able to deal a lot with Morano. I thought on the ground, if Morano got in the top position, he was going to cause problems because he's really good there. He doesn't get the credit for being the ground technician that he is. He does have a good guillotine, and it was the adjustment on the guillotine because he was going to lose it, and you saw him sit up and readjust on it, and it was a well-placed guillotine. Got tight very quickly, and Tim Means unable to stop that second attack of it. And really nice win for Alex Morano.
They were having some great exchanges, man. Inside, Tim was throwing some good shots, and then, like they were saying, Tim threw some great straight shots. Morano was coming around a little bit loopy around the edges, around the gloves, landing some good stuff. Morano is someone who, you look at him, you're like, this guy can't fight.
Oh,
this kid.
He's a toughie.
He's a slinger, man. He can gunsling, and he attached himself quick to that neck.
And the other part that you got to give credit for, South, his coach in South did a fantastic job. You could hear him yelling, left, because he wanted him to laterally move to left because Tim did not move his feet. And they had obviously picked that up in watching film and tape, but Tim was having a hard time tracking him anytime that he did go to that left because Tim being the southpaw the way he does, he didn't track it well. And Morano was able to land some clean shots off of that. So well done by the coaching staff there at Fortis MMA.
That's in Fort Worth, right?
That well. Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Because I know they mentioned Kyle Crutchmere, how Alex Morano wasn't able to catch Crutchmere in a guillotine. Yeah. He's like, but he's been working on it because the takedowns were there all day, left and right. So, next fight.
We had Matt Brown going against Court McGee. This was an OG fight all the way, and Matt Brown landed that and a lot of people, nice shot, lucky. No, it was you watched, and he was looking for that right hand because he was watching Court McGee's left hand. He saw Court McGee's left hand really starting to slump down. He threw that thing 3 times. The third time was the charm. That when he landed that thing, it was right on the button. Court wasn't able to adjust. And that puts Mr. Matt, the Immortal Brown, in the position of he is tied with the Beast, Derek Lewis, for knockouts in the UFC. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, there was
he wants to continue on.
There was a little honorable mention from Conor saying he's coming for the title, coming for the knockout title, and Matt goes, "I'll fight you for it."
I know.
I thought it was great. Great response. Great response.
Yep.
Next fight.
Carl Williams taking on Chase Sherman. I thought Chase Sherman fought a great fight.
I thought so too.
I was really impressed with him, man. You know, many times I don't think that Chase fights very smart. I thought this one he fought very controlled. You could see him grabbing wind at time. You know, you said big, and he come right back. Sometimes, chased a little bit quicker than, I would want him to, but really overall, this fight could have gone either way. It wasn't, a unanimous decision.
Yeah.
It could have swung the other way. It was, Carl Williams barely getting by on winning the rounds. Mm-hmm. But I thought overall, good win for Carl Williams, but he needs to look at, as you would say, getting into those takedown situations more. He's shooting those. When he got the one, it was more of a football tackle. Mm-hmm. He's running his feet. That's great, but it's saying that you're being a little bit desperate too in the way that you're going about it. And he's got to set those up just a little bit better. But he's got fast hands. He's a fast fighter in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, his jab was on point. And so it seemed like he couldn't seem to miss with his jab. Chase got to learn how to move his head offline when he throws, or when you're stepping in, you've got to move.
There's no movement there.
Yeah, he just keeping his body straight upright. But I agree with you, though, John. I was actually kind of thinking that Chase maybe won the fight. But then as I was watching the third round over again, the jab was peppering him a little bit too much in the face. Yeah.
But it was close.
It was close. He was doing a little bit of that stepping in without, like you said, not moving the head offline. So even though you were putting the pressure, your head was getting snapped back like a Pez dispenser. And so it just made it easier for the judges to go, you know what? You got hit a lot. I know they weren't hard, but you got hit more than you
It's called effective aggression, not aggression. Yeah. What's effective? Yep. And Carl Williams was being effective. Yeah. So
next fight.
Cody Stamann against Douglas Andrade. Mm-hmm. Man, this went the way we thought, actually. We said this is going to be a tough fight for Cody Stamann.
Well, it didn't really go the way I thought because the fucking ref screwed Cody Stamann in the first round. Tell me I'm wrong. Am I wrong? Yeah. Well, I mean, like Cody got up kicked. He looks at the ref stops him, breaks him, stands him back up again. Like, I just worked for this takedown. I literally held the guy on my shoulder for 6 seconds to make sure I got and established the takedown, get to the top position. He up kicks me, and then you break me. Don't even take a point. Didn't even take a point.
I lost everything.
And Cody looks at him like, I would have said, hey, motherfucker. I would have told, and I mean, like, honestly, I would have talked to the ref that way. Hey, the rules are you put me back down. I get back down. You didn't take a point.
Yeah, Wayne Spinola did. You're not. Again, this is what happens. It's the UFC, and they're all excited. You got to slow yourself down and think. Don't take advantages away. And we're going to go into some of that in the next fight and stuff. But yeah, I agree with you. It was wrong.
And look, and I'm not saying that he would have won that fight, but I had him winning that first round.
You don't know.
You don't know. Yeah, he could have. Yep, he could have made some mistakes.
Could have been the difference.
Yeah, Andrade could have made some mistakes. Could have turned his back. Could have got the choke. Whatever it was, but Cody worked for that takedown.
Could have damaged him with some ground and pound. I don't know.
Yeah. I just it was one of those things. Also, too, when the ref does something like that to you, I want people to remember this: is that it kind of it fucks with the fighter and their mental. Like, hey man, what are you doing? I just worked.
I'm getting cheated.
Yeah, like I just worked hard for that. Cheated. Now you feel the effort to have to try harder to get it back to the ground or to land a big shot or whatever it is. Like, hey, I just got cheated out of my position that I worked hard for. And now you almost feel like you're fighting two people, the fucking ref and the fighter. It's like if the ref can't do their job, now I have to fight this guy and this guy. And so for Cody, it was a shitty situation to be in. And I could see the look on his face because the ref goes, okay, guys, fight. And Cody looks at him like, what are you talking about? I just got the takedown. What are you doing? He was like lost. He put his hands up like this. I would have literally been like, hey, this fight needs to go back on the ground. I would have used other words, but yeah, I've been in some, in some of my fights, especially one in Strikeforce, and I can't remember who the ref was, but yeah, I got kicked in the nuts from the ground, and he kicked me right in the nuts, and then I remember he stood me up, and he's like, "Hey guys, ready to fight?" I was like, "No." I was in the top position on the ground. I go, no, put him back down the ground. And the ref's like, oh, no, stand. I'm like, no. I'm not fighting until you fucking put him back down the ground. I'm not fighting. I'll just walk off. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to let the ref. The fight is not about you. It's about us. Okay? And no, the rules are the rules. You're going to put me back down the ground. Fuck no. I was so mad.
Well, it's always bad when you're the guy that you're the one getting fouled and you're also losing position.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how do I get double? You know, and they always say we don't want to double dip. You double dip guys all the time the wrong way. You know?
I'm trying to remember who I was fighting in that fight. I think it was Nam Fan. It might have been Harris Sarmiento, but I think it was Nam Fan. I can't remember, but I got kicked in the nuts. Like I was getting ready to posture over him, and he up-kicked me right in the nuts. And I was like, you fucking son of a bitch. Next.
Let's see, Nam Fan, it would have been John Shorley. Yeah, that one would have been a mistake.
I think it was Nam, yeah. Oh, I had Shorley a lot, huh? Against Dwayne Ludwig also.
John Shorley was a boxing referee.
Makes sense.
He got into the sport based upon boxing. Yep.
All right, next.
Oh, well. All right, we had Mandy Bone against Kim.
I'm going to sit this one out, John. You go right ahead, buddy. I know there's a lot to talk about.
I'll tell you what, yeah. All right, let's be honest. Let's take a look at the first thing that happens is at the end of, I think it was the second round. Was it the second round or was it the first round? I can't remember. But either at the end of the first round or the second round, I believe it was the second round. Kim is on the bottom. Bone is on top. And the round comes to an end. Mandy Bone goes to get up, and Kim, for whatever reason, decides now's my time to just kick at her. She kicks her, kind of knocks her back and stuff. The referee, you really can't tell what he does because they kind of go to a commercial, but he doesn't do anything off of it. He allows the 1 minute break to occur. And after allowing the 1 minute break to occur, he then assesses a 1 point deduction for, I don't want to say if it was unsportsmanlike or if it was an illegal kick after the bell, whatever he wants to go with. But Larry Carter takes a point from Kim. Okay, this is wrong in how you're doing it. You can't do it this way because what you're doing is you're creating a situation for the fighter to be looked at. It's unfair. If you're going to do this and you're going to take the point, you can do that. Mm-hmm. But Josh, it has to happen right after the foul is committed. You don't sit there and let them go with a 1 minute break because what you're telling the corner is, okay, I let it happen. I'm not going to take any points from this. So the corner is now instructing Kim based upon what they know has happened in the fight. I've had 2 rounds. Here's where we sit. This is what I need from you in this round. Mm-hmm. When you take a point after you've let that 1 minute break go, you just screwed up the coach. You just screwed up everything because now you just altered everything. I would have said things different in the corner. I would have possibly done things different. You cannot, that score, that point deduction comes off of the second round. It can't go on to the third round. You can't have that. It's got to go off of the scorecards on the second round. So there was one mistake. The second mistake is Mandy Bone ends up against the cage. Kim has her in a position and she knees her to the head. Knee to the head of a grounded fighter. What did you think?
Well, yeah, it does. As soon as if you've already taken a point for being for misconduct, you're pretty much obligated now to take the point for that.
Negative.
Why?
Why are you obligated to take a point when she throws a knee?
Uh-huh.
Let me ask you this. What was the first response you saw out of Mandy Bone? Did Mandy Bone go down to a knee? Did Mandy Bone put her hand up and like, oh my God, that hurt, and goes down? What did Mandy Bone do?
I don't know. Tell me, John.
She looks up at him like and puts her hand like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Okay. What is that telling you?
She's obviously not hurt.
Hello. Okay. And so her first reaction is like, hey, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm hurt. Okay. So Mandy Bone is the one that he allowed to decide whether this fight was going to continue on, and she decided right away, I'm starting to lose in this. I'm starting to have problems. I'm going to get myself out of this fight. She does by telling the doctor, I can't see. Okay, you can't see. I'll say that you can't see. Mm-hmm. Who's the one ending the fight?
The ref?
No, Mandy Bone is.
Oh, okay. like
right?
Wait, the ref.
And then the ref goes, and after all of this,
mm-hmm.
now we're going to take a point again from Kim based upon, it was an illegal knee. Well, if you're saying it was that illegal of a knee that you're going to take a point, then DQ her, because you're saying basically she did it on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
True?
Yeah.
But he doesn't do that. He doesn't DQ her. He allows it to go to a technical decision. So I'm going to take a point. So I'm the one that's altering who's going to win this fight no matter what, for the most part, based upon I've taken 2 points from this lady in this fight, and now we're going to go to a decision. Okay. But don't put yourself in the place to be the judge, jury, and executioner in this. He made big mistakes in the fact of the way he handled it, what you're gonna do with the fighter. Look at her fucking response when she gets hit. That's your tell-all. That's the one that's gonna tell you exactly how hurt is she. Didn't do it.
Do me a favor there, Dave. Click on Mandy Bone. Okay, so then go back and click on the other girl, on Kim. Scroll up. I want to see the record. Keep going. Okay, stop right there.
That's Kim's.
Okay, I'm cutting both of them.
Yeah.
You've lost 5 in a row for Kim. I'm cutting you.
Yep.
And the other girl, I'm cutting her too for being a faker.
Yep. Same thing.
I'm getting
if I was
ready.
the UFC, I said goodbye.
Yeah. I don't need this. Guys, go back, mature a little bit, come back, and we'll talk. But
Yep.
I don't need this. I don't need this in my organization. We've seen it at the highest level in title fights. I don't need this in my organization. It's frustrating.
I don't want fighters. Look, if a fighter is hurt, seriously hurt, it's okay. It's not your fault. But people can sit there and say what they want. You can see it off of the reaction. Yeah. Look at the first reaction. It'll tell you everything.
Well,
how hard did the knee hit her head? Not that hard. You can see a little movement. Mm-hmm. You can see a little movement, but not that hard. And then her first reaction is to look up at the referee like, hey. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Well,
I don't need those kind of fighters. I need someone that's going to be someone always looking to finish the fight and wanting to be in the fight.
Yeah, Kim kicked Bohm off of her because something had happened, I think, in the beginning of the second round or the beginning of the first round, where Bohm had done something. I can't remember what it was. Sorry, guys, I'm a little jet lagged and stuff. But the Mandy Bohm had done something to Kim, and then Kim got frustrated, so when the round ended, she kicked her off of her. So I'm trying to remember what it was. There was a little, back and forth in that little exchange. So Kim actually kicked her off of her because of what Bohm did to her, I think, at the end of the first round. And so that's why. But then I noticed that, and then later on in the fight, they're just looking for a way out. Both of them, though, it doesn't matter. I'm letting you both go.
But this is what happens with, again, no disrespect to Mr. Larry Carter, the referee. You do smaller fights in the North Carolina area, all that stuff, great. There's a difference between what is the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. Okay? What effect did we have with the kick at the end of the round? What effect was there?
Just unsportsmanlike.
0.
That's it.
Yeah, it's unsportsmanlike.
Yeah.
So how do you handle unsportsmanlike? By taking a round, and now I'm going to take a point from the fighter because it was so egregious that I need to clearly state, hey,
stupid.
You don't do that.
Yeah.
No, exactly. That's my point. Look, there comes those points where there's times to take points, and there comes a point you go, there's no reason to take a point there.
Yeah, scroll up a little bit there.
You have to realize how much the taking of a point affects the fight in MMA. So
yeah, he didn't ref another fight after that.
I think he did, didn't he?
No, nuh-uh. That was the last fight he reffed.
Okay, that was the last one. Okay, yeah.
It's probably a reason why. When you start, I felt this way about all sports. When the refs start making it about them, people just lose interest. I have no interest in watching this fight now. You've made it about you. I'm not paying my fucking money to watch the ref fucking dictate where this event goes or where this
not at all.
This sport goes or where this match goes, whatever it is. Stay out of it as much as you possibly can. And that's exactly what he didn't do. Next fight, battle.
God damn, man. I thought this was going to be a good fight. It was for 15 seconds because Gabriel Green came out and freaking he was going after him. And hey, hats off to you if that's what Brian Battle kind of weathered the little storm right there. You can see he's looking, he's trying to cover it. Comes with a freaking right hand clean and just blast Green, puts him down. And look, Gabriel Green doesn't get knocked out. That was a nice shot by Brian Battle. Big win. And well done. You know what fight this reminded me of? It reminded me of Paul Bonatello and Andrei Arlovsky. Absolutely. Because it was like I know Paul was like, I'm going to put pressure. He doesn't fight well going backwards. I'm going to push him, press him. I'm like, I don't know. Are you sure? I was like, are you sure? Little too open. And he fought too hard, left herself open on the shots, and bam. Great job by Brian Battle, though. Yep. All right. And then you had the last one, Lisboa against Jessica Rose Clark. Jessica just can't find a win anymore. Nah. People don't realize it's a downward spiral. You get one. Then if you get two in a row, all of a sudden I've never lost three in a row, and that's in your mind. It just plays in your mind like I've lost one. Oh man, I lose the next one. Shit, I've never lost two in a row. Now you're gonna lose. Now the thought of losing three is on your mind. You're thinking about that more than anything. It's a spiral effect. Confidence is key in this sport, in any sport, but this one specifically. You just can't seem, like you say, can't seem to buy a win. All right, well, hey, that's going to wrap up our UFC. I think ABC 4. UFC on
UFC Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte, okay. And hopefully you guys enjoyed that content. Let's get into some news. We have a couple little news articles, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. Let us know.
Yeah, so we have time for a couple here, and some of these will move to the midweek, so make sure you guys tune in on Wednesday for that stuff. But the first story comes that Nate Diaz apparently cannot smoke weed ahead of the Jake Paul fight. He's been denied for an exemption, and now there's speculation that no matter what happens in this fight, something will change the result.
No, just move the fight. Yeah. If I'm
here, it's real simple. Move the fight to a commission that has common sense when it comes to the use of marijuana.
Stupid.
I'm going to say this. I'm sorry for taking over here, Josh.
Go right ahead.
But we've both been in a lot of altercations, both you in the cage. I've never had someone that's high on weed try to kick my ass. Never. Never.
True.
All kinds of other drugs, all kinds of other things like alcohol and stuff. People will try to do it all the time. Mm-hmm. Never with marijuana. Jeez. And anybody that sits there and tells me that marijuana is a performance-enhancing drug, you've lost your fucking mind.
You're an idiot.
Thank you.
This fight's supposed to be in Dallas, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Move it. I may be living in Dallas by then, and I was hoping to actually go to the fight, but if it's going to cause problems and controversy at the end of it, and someone's going to get paid and they're going to lose 20% or whatever it is,
it's just stupid.
And once he's suspended for marijuana there, other commissions are going to follow the suspension, I would assume. So then he won't be able to fight after that.
The real question is, what are they saying that he can't? Because with USADA or WADA or VADA, any of those, there's a 24-hour period, okay, that surrounds the fight. All right. And so he wouldn't be able to smoke basically for 12 hours before the fight. All right. And it's supposed to be that they have a 24-hour period, but if you don't smoke, then you have the fight. They can test you right after the fight, to make sure that you didn't have anything in your system. But once the fight is over and they have that little window that they can test you, whether they do or don't, you can go back and you can use marijuana, and it's all good. So why is it that Texas is going to be different here?
I don't know.
It's like we're worried about marijuana in the world today. Give me a break.
Yeah, let's worry about the southern border first before we start worrying about marijuana.
Thank you.
Look, this
How about something called fentanyl?
Yeah, this is driving me crazy because, like I said, we've had two problems. So we've had the referee that was in San Antonio, and then the judging that was in San Antonio, and done by the actual those two things took place by people that were what they work for the Texas Commission, and now this coming about where you're not going to allow this guy to smoke. It's his business. Like, I get it. It's not performance enhancing. He's not out there. Like, he isn't going to be out there trying to kick someone's ass. But like you said, it's not like he's out there trying to pick these fights. You know, he's a professional athlete. He's a real fighter. And so this, all right, man, I said it, John. Texas Commission, help is coming, my friend. I'll be there soon enough. I'm so frustrated. Oh man, I'm gonna try to recruit Andy Foster over to Texas. Let's go, my guy. So let's go. All right, next.
All right, and then I think we'll wrap up on this one here. Jake Paul saying that he wants to fight McGregor twice, once in boxing and once in MMA. But for MMA, he specifies PFL. So
yeah, guess what? Ain't happening.
Yeah.
Ain't happening. First off, Jake Paul can eye anything he wants. That's great. And first off, you got to fight. You got to deal with Nate Diaz. You're not fighting MMA against Conor, especially in the PFL.
He ain't fighting boxing either.
I don't think so either. No. But it's a matter of that ain't happening.
No, he ain't fighting boxing.
So because I'm going to just put Cole Shelton wrote this story, means something? Means dick. Ain't happening.
No, it ain't nothing. And I like BJPenn.com. It's just this is one of those things that, yeah, you might be eyeing it, but it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen in boxing because if George Masvidal was too big for Conor, then Jake Paul's enormous to Conor. He's just way bigger than Conor. I want to stop this misconception that Jake Paul's like a 170 pounder. He's not. He cuts weight to make 185. You know, and
190.
Yeah, he's walking around 200, 205, somewhere around there. You know, so stop picking on the smaller guys, man. Fight someone your size. We saw
what happens when you did, and you fought a boxer that's young and fast. Guess what?
Yeah,
you went right back to fighting an MMA guy.
Yeah,
I wonder why.
Yeah.
He's getting called out for him. Even KSI, who's throwing elbows in boxing matches, which was fantastic.
Jeez.
Did you see that knockout?
I didn't see it.
Oh my God. He throws an elbow that knocks out his opponent. It's clear they gave him a win. I love it. You know why they gave him a win? It's his promotion.
Total shit show.
Yeah.
Total shit show. This is what boxing has become. All right. Is there anything else there, Dave? I thought you had one more for us.
Well, I did have more, but I was just, for the sake of time, I'm going to bump them over. Here, let's throw this one in here. Okay. Kelvin Gastelum announces he's going to go back to welterweight, and he's, in quotes, he's going to be shredded.
I don't know what to say, John. I'm hoping
the tweener man.
He is the tweener man, the poor guy. But I really enjoy watching him fight. Like you said, he's your Roberto Duran.
I love him.
I love watching him fight, and he's such a great guy, such a nice guy,
Yep.
Very soft-spoken, very friendly, very just respectful. Just whatever he does, I'm a fan now, man. When he first came onto the scene, I've said this multiple times publicly, I wasn't a fan. I don't know what it was. Something about him. I think what it was that he wasn't making weight. And I've always every time someone doesn't make weight, it really turns me off when it comes to them. I'm like, it's a fighter. I'm like, you're just unprofessional. And then especially when I saw his body frame and stuff, I'm like, bro, you got some, you could lose some. You got a little extra around the waist and this and that. But him being at 185, I felt like it was comfortable. Sure, he was a lot smaller, but he had the speed. He's got the grit. He's got all of those things. He can wrestle. He's got good submissions. He's a dog. But I understand, he's coming up to, I wouldn't say towards the end of his career, but you got to make that decision when you still got something left in the tank. Cut the weight, do whatever it is you got to do. Get a nutritionist that can really get you down. Do it properly. Rehydrate properly. And let's see what you can do at 170. I'm excited.
First off, I don't care if he's fighting at 170 or 185. I love watching him fight. The speed is a little bit of a thought, but he could make the 170 if he gets with the right nutritionist and he changes his diet and works out as hard as I know he works out. He can get there easily. Yeah. And with as tough as he is, and he's got good wrestling. He doesn't use it, but he's got good wrestling. He's got a good ground game. And with as tough as he is in the stand-up, look, he's a handful for anyone. He can definitely make waves at 170, but now's the time to do it. And you can't wait much longer and decide I'm going to go down. Because going down is never a good thing if you don't do it the right way. So he needs to take the time to do this the right way so it doesn't affect him with his performance. And good luck to you, Kelvin. Love watching you fight.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, hey, that's going to wrap up our show. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button there on our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, the little thumbs up to help the algorithm, and the little bell because we're going to be dropping some extra content in the next week or so. And head over to our OnlyFans page, onlyfans.com/weighing in. Got some extra content there from our USO tour that'll be coming up next. I think it's next week or the week after. We got some more stuff coming available there. And John and I had some fun in Paris. I'll be sending over some video clips for Podcast Dave to post up of our Paris trip. And we'll have some good time. Hit that subscribe button on all platforms. I want to thank you guys for continuing to support us. And John, take us away.
Hey, for everyone out there, thank you for tuning in. Hope you had fun watching the fights like we did. And we will be getting back to you pretty quick. So we will see you.